I'm Rachel, standing here in the vineyard as dawn breaks over the hills. The air clean and honest, I fasten the locket around my neck. For the first time, I truly know my worth. Just moments ago, the ballroom was in chaos. I had just exposed Valerie, my brother's fiancée, as a fugitive. The screens were filled with evidence of her fraud, and the room had gone completely still. It all started when I walked into my brother Adam's engagement party. Instead of being awed by the crystal chandeliers or the live string quartet, I noticed the dirt on my boots. Valerie, a supposed heiress, spotted me right away. "Look who decided to show up," she sneered. "The dirty farm girl is here." But what really made my heart ache was the vintage locket around her neck. It was my grandmother's, the one promised to me. When I looked at my mother, she just shrugged and said, "Valerie appreciates history, Rachel. You just get it dirty." I didn't lose my temper. Instead, I walked through the service entrance and went down to the reserve cellar. The air there was always a perfect filled with the smell of French, oak, and the fruits of my labor. Upstairs, they were sipping on my award-winning 2018 Cabernet, completely oblivious to who had created it. I sat on a wooden crate and pulled out my phone. It was the first of the month, and the automatic transfer of $5,200 to my parents was scheduled for the next morning. For years, I had labeled it as estate dividends, making them believe it was from a small investment my grandma left. In reality, it was my hard-earned profit. I had always lied to myself about why I sent the money. I thought it was my duty, that I didn't want them to worry about their bills. But seeing Valerie wearing my locket, I finally admitted the truth. I was like a gambler, thinking that if I removed all their stress, they would love me. But I realized it was a rigged game. The money they took was credited to their good fortune, and they used the emotional space I bought to dote on Adam and Valerie. I decided to cancel the transfer. It was a small act, but it felt like a breath of fresh air after years of suffocation. Then I went back to the ballroom to watch. Valerie was on stage giving a speech full of buzzwords about her show called Solar Empire. My parents, David and Lily, were in the front row looking at her with adoration they had never shown me. They saw in her their retirement plan and a chance at a high-class life. When Valerie took a sip of my 2015 Cabernet Sauvignon and made a face, saying it was too acidic, I couldn't hold back. I stepped forward and explained that the acidity was intentional. She mocked me, and my parents laughed along. But I saw the absurdity of it all. She was a parasite, living off the value others created. Yet she thought she was superior. Then, Valerie announced a surprise. Her parents, the Duke and Duchess of Solar, entered the room. But I recognized the Duke as Tom, a C-list actor I had hired for a local festival 18 months ago. It was a pathetic sight to see my parents fawning over him. I realized they loved Valerie and her fake family because they represented the fantasy my parents wanted to live, while I was the reality they wanted to escape. I knew I had to expose the truth. I called my forensic accountant, Lisa. She quickly found out that Valerie's company, Solaris Green Energy, was a shell with no assets, and she was actually a fugitive named Valerie Jenkins, with outstanding warrants for wire fraud. I got all the evidence and walked to the AV booth. I took the microphone from my father's hand and showed the evidence on the screens. The room froze. Valerie tried to lunge at me, but I had security escort her out. My father was in shock when he learned I was the owner of the land. I told them the transfers were canceled, and that they could rely on Adam to figure things out. Now, as I stand here in the vineyard, I'm no longer the invisible labor. I'm the owner, and I finally claim my worth.